Oh, yeah, this is definitely a wide track, and you can definitely see that as... Oh, car around! Car around!
Yellow flag is out.
Oh, my.
Guys. Guys, we're not live. What? Oh,
Why?
you didn't tell me.
Eli was just like, car around, car around.
Oh, man. All right, well, apologize for that. Once again, reset the stream. And we had a caution on lap number 1 that looked like Andy McDowell in the 20 car. Looks like Cole Knights, excuse me. Oh, man. Well, Cole Knights in the 20 car. I must have confused it with the IS car, but yeah, he's in the 20 car. He got into an involvement down there in the back straight away. Looks like a couple cars went around. We'll try to get the replay for you as they stand. And a bunch of guys going through this section right there. Looks like he might have gotten tangled. That's Carl Faust. Looks like JJ Hill, I believe so, in the 08. I'm not sure who else was involved. There was one driver down there, and he was also involved. So we're going to take a look and see exactly what went down there. And those guys kind of went around. It was a tough situation there, especially here in Michigan. That wall comes up quick on the back straightaway.
Yeah, and you know, despite the wall, you know, well, these guys try to use up all the racetrack they can, and obviously, you know, people not giving each other any inches will result in that. But unfortunately, a lap 1 wreck. But hopefully, we get some green flag runs later in the race.
Yeah, that's just the product of that 3-wide racing right there, coming off the corner. If you're on the very outside, you have nowhere to go with cars below you, so straight into the wall you go, and nothing you can do about that.
You know, it looks like Ezekiel Reyes was given an EOL penalty, so looks like he'll be penalized for that incident. He might have been involved in there somewhere within that pack of cars. And Blaze mentioned it before we went live. He said that that in the first 20 laps of this race, it kind of handles like a super speedway in the terms of that there's so many cars tight packed together, and the draft really plays a factor in how you move through the field. And it's somewhat difficult to go through there, especially since it doesn't feel like a track that'll be like that in the early stages of the run, but it seems to be holding true right now from what Blaze McKinney said before we went live here on KBRN. And first caution of the night already, these guys coming around the racetrack. It looks like Blaze McKinney took the race lead. Nick Miller will start second. Parker White, Glenn Bundren, Jackson Hartman, Sartaj Mann round out the top 6 right now. Blaze McKinney first, just messing around down there in the grass. And, well, this bounty is now underway on lap 1. It doesn't seem exciting to know that we had a first lap, but right now, Blaze McKinney is the man to chase, especially for all of these drivers, even drivers that probably don't even know about them. They want to beat Blaze McKinney regardless, because how Blaze McKinney has been so dominant here at Michigan.
Yeah, obviously, when money comes into play in these virtual races, people want to jump for it, and that'll give them motivation to race, try to beat him, and it's kind of their goal to you know, Blaze is the bar, and they want to surpass it. So, yeah, it's definitely a motivating factor in someone who's raced and won money myself. Yeah, it definitely brings in a whole new ball game.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something fun, something appropriate. Blaze McKinney has been dominating all season long. It's something to throw a little fun into this league, so I'm a big fan of it. Definitely some motivation for the drivers, though.
All right, well, the field will double up all the way down. The first restart of tonight's race after the caution on lap 1 will go green on lap 5. And the man who will command the field to the green flag will be that 87 of Blaze McKinney, right alongside the 88 of Nick Miller. Then goes Parker White, Glenn Bundren, Jackson Hartman, Sartaj Mann. Those are the first 3 rows you see on your screen that'll lead us to the green flag on lap number 5. Pace car will come off slowly but surely and we'll get the green flag right here on the first restart here in Michigan for the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. The 87 leaves.
And we're going to start to see these guys fanning out a ton. This racetrack is so wide, and they have so much room to race, but Nick Miller slides in right behind him, and looks like he's cleared the 95, and he should be able to go for the race lead on the back straightaway.
Nick Miller in chase, single file right behind them, right on his bumper. See if he can make a move. He pulls to the outside. Not going to be able to do too much there. Caution out on the track. Cars behind them. Looks like some carters back there. We'll have to see what happened. Looks like that car, not sure who it is, but definitely involved in that incident.
Yeah, that's Sean Major in the 32 car. Went around in the back straightaway. So, once again, we find ourselves under caution.
Yeah, looks like he got into a little bit of a slide off turn 2. Might have had some help from below, and yeah, they were going 4 wide. Sent him up, and I think that just kind of started a chain reaction with the 32. He gets slammed by the 6 after in the middle of the spin, but he is able to save the car with damage, albeit, but still able to keep it straight. He's probably going to go down pit road for damage repair, and that brings out the second caution of the night. Boy, it has not been easy for these guys tonight, and really for the past couple of races we've had a record amount of cautions on the racetrack, and it continues to be the trend within this first run, and we really haven't had a green flag run to show for. But Nick Miller in command of the race lead. He took the race lead. Actually, no, excuse me, he did not. He was about to as soon as everyone started wrecking behind, but looks like they'll battle once more on the next restart, and we'll see if pit strategies have anything to do with it, which it probably won't, considering it's lap 6. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but it has not been easy in terms of the cautions, really.
Yeah, we've seen recently in recent races a ton of cautions, and it looks to be the trend here and continuing here at Michigan. Just a couple laps in and already 2 cautions.
Yeah, that's really not what you like to see. I mean, from a commentator standpoint, a viewer standpoint, and a driver standpoint, you just want to go race, and especially if it's just a small wreck in the back that really shouldn't have a caution thrown for it. You just want to go racing. So, yeah, with the new iRacing update, these guys, with the new iRacing update, they did make cautions for 2-mile tracks and super speedways way shorter. So, where I believe it only goes about 3 laps as compared to 4 or 5. So, yeah, it definitely feels a lot nicer to have these shorter cautions. It feels like a short track.
Sure, and the drivers, they kind of changed up racing the way that the people pit when it comes to lap cars, or when it comes to other drivers who want to go on pit road. They managed to get that around in the sense that these guys can get over these cautions way quicker than they should at longer tracks, because long tracks are agonizingly slow when it comes down to the pace laps. You're going, 55, 60 miles per hour around such a large track that it feels like you're taking forever just to go around, just to realize there's another caution lap that you have to follow the pace car around again. So it's frustrating for a lot of these drivers that have to sit around and kind of wait for the green flag to come out once again, and it's kind of a little boring stretch where they can kind of rest a little bit and kind of wait for that green flag to come back out again. And also from a commentator standpoint, you want to see these guys race all the way and have especially developments across a green flag run. You see we're on board with the 87 of Blaze McKinney. He is currently behind the pace car, and we've gotten the 1 to grow green signal, so looks like these guys the pace lights are off, so we'll be going green very, very shortly once they come around this track, and the field will double up. The top 5 and top 6 barely remain unchanged right now. We'll see if that continues, if that even changes come the next restart. But Charlie, is there really anything to note right now here at Michigan, or you think we're just too early in the run to even point out any developments right now?
Well, yeah, I think obviously the aggressiveness of these drivers have shown as, the last caution was caused by 4 wide off of turn number 2. So yeah, these guys want to get going. They want to use up their tires, and I don't think we have a faster pair. Well, we might have one. I might need to be corrected on that, but I see some guys with damage back there, so I I don't know. That might just be a misunderstanding on my part. But yeah, these guys just want to go racing, and you know, they know it's a pretty equal playing field, knowing the high downforce and such a simple track this is. So yeah.
All right, well, we are ready to go green once again here at Michigan, and Blaze McKinney, Nick Miller, Parker White, Glenn Bundren, those guys will lead the field back to the green flag. We'll see if there's any cautions come around once we come around turn 2 into the back straightaway, but hopefully we can get some more green flag racing, and the 87 launches off the restart zone. We are back green on lap number 9.
Blaze McKinney with an amazing restart, obviously the bounty, but interesting to see if these cars will chase. Obviously the bounty person, so definitely more aggression we'll see from them tonight. Trying to get anywhere close to him, but still Blaze McKinney leading early on at another racetrack. So whoa, looks like he's done, but we'll see if we'll be able to do it.
3 wide. Yeah. Oh. Oh no. It looked like he almost had it saved on the racetrack, but he kind of overcorrected a little bit, and that sent him into the outside wall. Collected numerous cars, including the 4 of Jacob Tyler May. It looked like Darren Myers, also with no hood. He's involved in this as well. He got into the 88 on that spin. We'll see what happened right there coming off of turn 4. They're going 3 wide into turn 3. I think the 88 might have gotten a little tap. Looks like, yeah, he gets the tap from the 19. He goes almost around, and everyone checks up behind him, and he saves it, but then trying to chase it up the track once more, he overcorrects and then into the wall, into the 09. The 10 also involved a hard hit right there, and then everyone's scrambling to get around him.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. You know, you save that race car, you do all that work with your hands, saving it all the way up the racetrack. You think you have it saved, you get the car pointed the right way, and the next thing you know, the back end just steps out again. So, yeah, it's tough.
It is definitely tough. Eli, I thought you're going to speak. Right? Go ahead.
No, sorry. Definitely tough. I'm not gonna kind of forgot what the question was, but what was the question again?
No, I wasn't asking a question. I was just kind of giving your thoughts on what was going on right now on the racetrack.
Oh, definitely. I think that there's a lot of aggression. We've seen, it's a wide racetrack. We've seen 3 wide, 4 wide, and it's definitely caused wrecks as we saw more aggression. And I just think it's just overall aggression with this wide track. So that's my thoughts for what's been going on so far.
Yeah, it's been tough, and with that, these guys are going to go down pit road. A couple damage fix that includes the 09 of Darren Myers. Looks like Sean Major, Sartaj Man, Logan Hartman, Jackson Hartman, excuse me. He's a driver down pit road as well. Looks like Ezekiel Reyes also down pit road. A couple of drivers through the front of the field, they're making their way down pit road. They weren't exactly involved in the caution there, but looks like they're just kind of topping off on the fuel and tires and getting some fresh tires for this next restart. Will look like we'll be, I believe, lap 13 or so. We might have a restart by then. But it's just a matter of the pace car and when the lights will come off and what exactly will go down. But another caution on lap number 11. We've had already 3 cautions tonight, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down any longer. But we're going to see what happens. I think, no, actually 62 of Keen Jones does not go down pit road. He will stay out on the racetrack, and everybody will file through. See if they get the 1 to green this time, and we'll see. Looks like, no, yes, we do. Actually, we do have the 1 to green, so we'll be doubling up one more time, hopefully getting a long flag run this time around. We've already had some hiccups on this stream, and we've already had some hiccups early in this race. We hope that doesn't happen any longer when it comes down to the green flag. And Blaze McKinney, Parker White, Kean Jones, Mitch Hobbs, Glenn Bundren, Joseph Costello, who's now in the top 10. Interesting to see, as well as Joe Berge and Dominic Curie. Yeah, it is, and especially with these guys, some of the guys getting nutrition and the guys going down pit road, those guys have that opportunity to sneak themselves in the top 10 and possibly make a challenge for the race leader, Blaze McKinney. And we'll see what just happens right now on this next restart, and it looks like everyone will double up. Pace car will come off, and once the 87 mashes that gas pedal, we are going green. He will, just so right there. We will take the green flag on lap 12. Look at everybody shaking up and spinning the tires just a little bit, but the 87 with a huge run going into turn 1.
A huge run indeed. Most of these guys are starting to fan out 3 wide in the car, but mostly staying civil for this restart specifically. But Keaton Jones sitting in second. He's going to have a run down the back straightaway. Also Joseph Costello on the bottom moving into the picture.
Yeah, looks like Parker White going under the 62 of Keaton Jones. He lost that spot. He wants it back. He's going to take it under the 62 in turn 3. Looks like we'll see if he gets that move. Oh, just a little bit tight. They're sideways into turn 3, but they're able to save it, both of them. But that allows all of these guys to scramble on a hard contact with Joseph Costello. Jacob Tyler Mays around, the 60s around. Drivers in the grass. Caution is out again.
Oh, man, that just brewing to happen there. We saw 2 wide going in there. How unfortunate for drivers that were up there that we don't usually see up there. The 60 of Joseph Costello, a new face up there, trying to have a good run, and it all ends there with some aggressive driving.
Yeah, and fanning 3 wide and stuff down the back straightaway. And you see the 95 got under Keaton Jones and must have gotten tight in the corner, drove in a little too deep, and amazing save by this car, by that 62 car, but unfortunately checked all these guys up there 4 wide, and looks like Costello just chopped the 89's nose, so one guy went into the pits, but yeah, just havoc from there. As you see the 6 in the inside wall, 31 plows into him very hard.
Yeah, tough contact for them, and it pretty much started where Keaton Jones and Parker White got into contact, and it seems everybody checked up, and that's where everyone got all together, and that was enough to spawn some contact between some of these drivers. Looking back at some of the drivers, that's Kelan Belsha in the 18 you're looking at right now through the wreck. The 10 actually gets turned, piles into the 18, and also more trouble behind the guys who were pretty much involved in the main incident up front. The guys behind them also caught into some trouble. The 18 was pretty much a victim of that, even though he probably didn't deserve it. He was kind of just staying low, and he ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. So now that this caution comes out, that shakes up the field even more, with Joe Berge in the 3rd place. Now Parker White falls to 4th. Keloa Hankins moves into the top 5, as well as Jack DeAndrea. Nick Miller, who was involved in the last incident, he does have his faster pair, so that answers your question, Charlie, about whether we had faster pairs. We do have one. Then Ryan Potter, Glenn Bundren, Mitch Hobbs running out the top 10. They're all getting damaged, so that will also shake up from now on out. And 15 laps, it's not a long run. You kind of have to just play the waiting game. You don't really want to go down for tires or fuel because you really haven't had that run. So it's kind of an awkward situation, isn't it, Charlie? The question was whether, like, how kind of awkward it is to have to kind of be on that run and you don't really want to pit when there's a caution. So when there's cautions early in the race, so if it's kind of awkward for the drivers, yeah,
it's definitely awkward because you know when you stay out front and those guys are pitting under caution, you know that they're getting those fresh tires and they'll technically be faster than you, or have the ability to. So yeah, if you're up there, it's definitely a worrying factor because those guys back there do have the fresh tires and people up front don't. So again, it all comes down to how far back they are when they pit, but obviously still the same thing. So yeah, this field has thinned out a lot, but we have gotten the 1 to green signal and we'll be going back green here shortly.
Yeah, on that subject of the awkward pitting, it's hard as a leader because when you have you don't want to pit from the lead and have that lead taken away from you, but when the cars behind you are pitting, getting fresh tires, it's always scary because they'll have fresh tires and they'll come up behind you, so it's just really an awkward situation for the drivers that are near the front of the pack.
So everyone will double up. We have the 1 to green signal now from the pace car once again. So we'll go green on lap number 17 here at Michigan International Speedway. 75 laps to run here in Michigan, and it's going to take a while, but hopefully we get some longer green flag runs, and we see how thin the field is now that we have some of the attrition play a factor early in the run, and we see if that'll change how these drivers react around each other. We've already had some close racing and some close calls, especially when it came down to Keaton Jones. And speaking of Keaton Jones and Parker White, those guys are starting on the outside of rows 1 and 2. So Parker White will probably take advantage of that to try to get around the 62 and try to get around without any contact or any sort of deal there. But that's all dependent on what happens from now in the green flag. But the 87 will lead the field to green. Keaton Jones also leads on the outside lane. Green flag is back out. We are underway here in Michigan once again, and a good start for Joe Berge in the 83.
Yeah, but that 62 car of Keaton Jones slides down to the bottom, so inching closer to that back bumper. But yeah, Parker White obviously holding his ground up there as well, hanging inside the top 5. Here comes Keola Hankins in that 72 car. Putting himself into the picture. So yeah, it's all up to Keaton Jones to try to run down our race leader as of right now.
Yeah, some of these guys from ISCAR are making their second starts here in the Bundren Lawn Care Series. That includes Nick Miller. Keola Hankins was a member of some of the first races in this series, but here's a bad challenge for the lead. Keaton Jones is wanting that bounce now on lap 17. He's going to try and take the lead off of 4, but the run on the outside is just too strong. They are side by side at the line.
And the advantage in the turn 1 goes to the outside line of Blaze McKinney. This front stretch and back stretch are so long, and you're able to utilize that momentum. But Keaton Jones gets to dive into turn number 3, but once again on the outside, here comes Blaze McKinney.
And here comes Parker White making a daring move to the bottom, almost under the apron. He's going to make it almost 3 wide for the race lead, but Blaze McKinney clears them both, so he'll try to challenge for 3rd. And Keaton Jones is sliding. You see these guys sliding around the racetrack. Boy, it is hard to keep your throttle in that car in the turns without kind of sliding up. You see Blaze McKinney trying to break the draft on Keaton Jones, but it seems it's not going to work. They're going into turn 1 with a head of steam.
Yeah, and these guys are fanning out a lot down the front straight, almost like a super speedway. And we see the 28 car having some problems into the wall up there. He's going to lose a lot of spots there. But back up front, here comes Keaton Jones once again. Down to the inside for Blaze McKinney, as we see Joe Berge, a surprising face up there in the 3rd spot.
We have great racing here towards the lead. Keaton Jones, when anything he can take the lead, looks like he'll contend here, and looks like he'll be able to clear him off the corner right here. New leader here at Michigan, Keaton Jones.
Yeah, and blocking for that race lead. Blaze McKinney pushing him down the front straightaway. And oh my goodness, it's like a super speedway here. Here comes Joe Berge up to the 87's back bumper. Oh man.
Yeah, all these guys started packing in. Look at Nick Miller launch himself into turn 1 and 2. He's going to try to look under the 87. Not enough. Give that to Joe Berge. He's going to slip into the 3rd spot. See a bunch of guys here. Parker White, Keola Hankins, Glenn Bundren, who we talked to just prior to the race and the drop of the green flag. But everyone's shuffling around this front pack. And then, of course, once you get behind Glenn Bundren, you have Ryan Potter, who's sitting in points. He's had a little bit of damage, but he's working himself by himself. You see Darren Myers, Ezekiel Reyes, these guys, and Jack DeAndre on the bottom there. These guys are working to get to this front pack, but up front, boy, it is tough. Blaze McKinney is trying to find that draft with Joe Berge to the inside off turn 2.
Yeah, and Nick Miller, Glenn Bundren, and Keola Hankins, they're on those fresh tires. They pitted under that caution. They have 10-lap fresher tires than the 2 front runners, Keaton Jones and Blaze McKinney. So that's going to be an advantage to them. As you see Nick Miller carving his way slowly but surely into this top 5 and maybe getting content for the race lead.
Yeah, some slicing and dicing behind that 62. Keaton Jones has got a miracle aggression behind him. They're just drivers doing anything they can do to get to the lead. As 87 is basically right on his bumper, trying to get that lead back. Looks like he will not be able to make it do here, but definitely some great racing for this lead here.
And this track is sort of deceiving in a way, in the sense that you can try to make a move all the way to the bottom, but if you have someone with the draft on the outside, they'll surely get the best of you off of these corners. And you see the 88 looking low to the 87. That we'll see if that works. He dove it in that corner. He's going to easily take the spot from Blaze McKinney. Keola Hankins now pressuring that 87, the back bumper that Chris Lilly designs Chevrolet Camaro. And now the bounty is heating up. These guys want those $5.
Yeah, and it's surprising to see someone like Blaze McKinney start to fall back into the top 5, but obviously not letting it go that easy. He's down back to the inside of Nick Miller for the second spot and contend back for the race lead. But Kean Jones has done a pretty good job of holding these guys off, but Blaze McKinney back to second place. Oh, and Joe Burgee into the wall, and a second time into the wall, got loose off of the corner, or maybe got tight, and he has some right front damage to that car, so tough break for him. He was running really well so far.
Yeah, he's going to get split between Jackson Hartman, Darren Myers, Jack DeAndrea, and that was Ezekiel Reyes. Those guys in the second pack are trying to work themselves to find this front pack, but it seems as though they haven't really been able to gain some ground when it comes to catching all the guys up front. But it seems as though all the guys up front, they continue to stay stuck with each other. Nick Miller now falls to 5th place with Glenn Bundren and Kelan Hankins taking the spots away. They're now battling for 3rd place, and here comes a run from the 87. He might make a move to the inside. If we go into 3, he might have the run.
Yeah, we see the strategy here. He's sticking behind his back bumper, and maybe that's a bit of tire-saving strategy, because when you're aggressive and you stick it down to the inside, and Glenn Bundren with an amazing run down the inside, but maybe it's just a tire-saving strategy, because when you stick it down to the inside and you hold it there, you're burning up your right front. So bit of strategy here, not wanting to make that move early and waiting, but Glenn Bundren into the second spot, looking for the lead with help from Blaze McKinney.
Glenn Bundren continuing for the leader with this long run. We're starting to see those drivers who pitted with fresher tires, with Kelan Hankins and Glenn Bundren, who has now taken the lead. So that's just that advantage with those fresher tires here, as Glenn Bundren is now your lead.
Yeah, now 62 of Kean Jones, now getting pressure from the 87 down low. He might be inside, but he doesn't just yet. But what a move we saw by the 37 of Glenn Bundren. He dove it all the way into turn 3, and he was able to make it work. We saw that earlier with another driver. I believe it was Nick Miller who made the move on Blaze McKinney himself. So that was another move that seems to kind of work right now, but it probably isn't the best move considering tire conservation. You see more battling between the 88 and the 72. They're continuing to battle down into turn number 1. It looks like Parker White kind of lost the draft a little bit. He's behind them. He also has some spoiler damage, so that might take into effect his speed. Right now, behind them is Jackson Hartman right now running by himself. And looks like the second pack kind of split up between Ezekiel Reyes and Jack DeAndrea, and these guys behind them. Henry Tabor now rounds out the top 10. Still up front, though, it is a huge battle for the top 5 spots, as Blaze McKinney's now in a sandwich between Kelan Hankins and Nick Miller off of turn 4.
Yeah, and those guys who pit under that caution, the guys who had those fresh tires, are taking over slowly but surely. And oh, Kean Jones must have gotten into the wall, or I don't know what in the world happened back there, but he was swerving down the front straightaway. Don't know if that was intentional or not, but I don't see any damage to that car. But you know, back to what I was saying, those guys with the fresh tires, everyone up there besides Kean Jones and Blaze McKinney that are on those fresh tires are steeping back or bleeding out of the top 5 right now. But Glenn Bundren with almost a second lead ahead, but we're back side-by-side racing for second place.
And the first thing we saw this time in this race is Glenn Bundren, just how big of a lead he has over the pack. And it seemed as though he wasn't able to get around all those other drivers so quickly, but he's already developed a big lead over the second pack, and now these guys continue to stay within the draft and battling. And now Jackson Hartman's looking to peek into this battle, as well as Parker White. Those guys are going to try to take advantage of the 72 and the 88, who continue to battle each and every lap side by side. They might burn the tires down, but they're putting some good show on right now in turn 3.
Yeah, Jackson Hartman in that 19 car is actually a lap down, so I could see the confusion there. He's running just as fast as these guys. He's on the same tire strategy as all of them, but yeah, Jackson Hartman a lap down right now, with showing a lot of speed.
Yeah, I always tend to confuse the lap cars in the main field. Like I just get a little bit too excited when it comes down to a lot of these guys making moves, and Jackson Hartman is pretty much piercing his way into this top 5, even though he is a lap down. He's trying to get his lap back, but even still, he's kind of piercing his way through this battle, and he could kind of split it up when it comes down to some of these drivers who might use him as a pick, or could use him as an advantage, as kind of a pushing buddy when it comes to getting an advantage off of these corners. He might help out Nick Miller, but he almost goes 3 wide. I don't think he has the run just yet.
Yeah, and I obviously want a pushing buddy here, because this track is easily comparable to a plate track, with the way that we were seeing these guys race side by side, almost 3 wide. towards the beginning of the race. But back up towards the lead here, Glenn Bundren did get up to a second lead, but is now falling back 4/10. So you see Blaze McKinney reeling him in. Obviously, 15-lap older tires for the 87 car, but still looking to gain some ground.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney continuing to reel him in. It looks like that lead for Glenn Bundren wasted his equipment just a little bit, and now he's going to have to fall back, especially as this run continues to last. And you see Keaton Jones, Kilo Hankins. Looks like everybody's calmed down between the top 5. They're now stuck together single file, trying to work together. Then goes Jack DeAndrea in 7th place. He's working by himself. He's already got a good run set up right now. And if this run continues, he can probably keep himself there for the time being. Then goes Ezekiel Reyes, and then a huge pack between Darren Myers, Curtis Granger, and Henry Tabor. Those guys all trying to work together to catch up to this main pack. But we have a question down in the YouTube chat by Side Drafting Production. Says, who are you guys picking to get the bonus money for beating Blaze tonight? Charlie, your thoughts?
Well, I would say, one of the reasons why Glenn Bundren is the leader right now is because of those fresh tires, but we'll have to see where he stacks up when they're all even. But right now it's looking, I'm leaning towards Glenn Bundren, who's on those fresher tires. Obviously a differing strategy, but sometimes a different strategy can put you out front, but right now it's working. If you can just hang on, it's obviously a possibility. What do you think, Kenneth?
Well, I mean, it is tough, but right now my eyes are on 62, that proximity car of Keaton Jones. We haven't seen it. We saw him at Daytona. He put a really good fight up for the race win, and I know Daytona is just a hugely different track from what we see here at Michigan, but right now he is considerably keeping himself in this top 3, and he's put some pressure on that 87. I feel like if he can continue to get this run, and if he follows the pit strategy just perfectly, unless we have a caution, of course, that will really shake up this stat a lot. And I feel like those $5 will probably easily go to the 62 with Keaton Jones.
My pick to keep the money tonight is the bounty man himself, Blaze McKinney. I feel like no one will contend. I feel like no one will contend with him here at the end. I feel like he'll be the one to take the money, and no bounty will be received. But if I were to choose one, I would have to go with that 72 of Kelan Hankins. He's been consistently up there in the top 5 as we have some green flag pitters coming in right now.
Yeah, and green flag pit stops right now. These guys, like I said, they're on the older tire strategy. Those guys were about maybe 30, 40 laps into their tire run, so they're going down for pit service. Obviously, Glenn Bundren, as we saw earlier, a good strategy for him because he has a good 20 laps until he has to pit. Behind him, Kelan Hankins has about 10. So lots of differing strategies here.
Yeah, we're seeing this pit cycle continue to go through, and it just started with Blaze McKinney. And as soon as I mentioned that pit strategy, and if Keaton Jones can follow it, then they'll be good. And it looks like he already started that pit strategy right now. And you mentioned those tires; they do play a huge factor here in Michigan, and they're already playing a factor. You see Keaton Jones launches off pit road. He's the first one off between these guys, Nick Miller and Blaze McKinney. Excuse me. Those guys get off of pit road, and here's a battle with the lap car. Kilo Hankins. He's sticking with the 19 of Jackson Hartman, who's trying eagerly to get his lap back. He hasn't had a caution just yet, so he hasn't been able to get that lap back just yet. And we have 2 more questions down in the KBRN chat, in the YouTube chat. One question by Mike74 says, will the entire field wreck, Charlie?
Well, it's tough to say for sure, but we did see some pretty big wrecks early in the race, and that took out a lot of cars. So I think that'll probably be the biggest we see today. Is on a side note, here comes Glenn Bundren down to the pit road. So Glenn Bundren now is equal with these guys on pit strategy. But back to the question, I think that's the extent of large wrecks that we'll see tonight.
We definitely seen some big wrecks tonight, so I definitely wouldn't doubt it with the aggression we've seen tonight with this white truck, but probably not, but wouldn't take it out of the picture.
Yeah, and just another note here, you see Nick Miller flew by that 72 car, and that really shows you the difference that new tires can make. But yeah, Nick Miller ahead of Blaze McKinney, and so is the 62 car, I believe. So those 2 guys fighting for the bounty here, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of them takes it.
Yeah, they're fighting for what will be the race lead once these guys cycle around, and once Kilo Hankins, who's now in the race lead, decides to pit alongside Jack DeAndrea, Curtis Granger, Henry Tabor. Those are among the guys who have not pitted just yet on the racetrack, but they're set to pit. And once they pit, the guys, Blaze McKinney, Nick Miller, Jackson Hartman, I believe. No, not Jackson Hartman. These guys, Nick Miller, Blaze McKinney, especially, and Glenn Bundren, those guys will try to battle between the race lead and now. But just the difference that those new tires really make on this racetrack. And we saw it happen at Homestead. We're seeing it once again. And it is tough. You see the 87 working with the 37. They're both friends. They're working 14th and 15th right now on the racetrack. And once these guys stack around, they'll definitely pick up in the top 3. But we have another question down in the Ask KBRN chat. Says, who is your favorite professional NASCAR broadcaster? I think Charlie will answer this one first.
There's a wide variety of these guys. Obviously, some more famous for their quotes than others. But I'm going to have to go with a pretty common answer. I'm going to have to go with Alan Bestwick. I love that man. He's a great guy, a really good person aside from broadcasting, and grew up from humble beginnings. He started just as a teenager, just like us, you and me, Kenneth, and Eli.
Yeah.
Just starting a radio station and, starting at an early age, and that's really who I look up to, and a very intuitive writer as well. So I think he's a really good guy, and he's my favorite professional broadcaster.
Driver.
For me, to be honest, I don't really have one. I just pay attention to the racing commentator, but I do enjoy NBC's commentating up in the booth more than Fox. It's just a personal choice, but yeah, I really don't have one personal favorite that is my favorite.
Yeah, and really how this channel started was kind of this inspiration from my favorite sportscaster. And of course, Charlie, I'm going to agree with you on there. Alan Bestwick is truly one of the best racing commentators there will ever be, alongside a couple of other guys, alongside sports commentators like Al Michaels and Bob Costas. Those guys are also great inspirations. And I think over the past couple of months, as I've grown more towards sim racing, I really grew a love for podium esports, and one of the guys who I really enjoy hearing on the broadcast the most is James Pike, and Pike has been a huge inspiration to me. And I actually texted him, sent him a DM, kind of asking for advice, and he was willing to give me advice, and I thought that was super nice. So that's one of my favorite broadcasters now. Guys down on pit road, that's Jack DeAndrea. I think some of the guys might be hitting pit road as well. They're going to start their pit cycle. Kilo Hankins is yet to pit. Jack DeAndrea seems to be the first one, as well as Henry Tabor and Kelan Belsha.
Yeah, Belsha overshoots those pits, though. Oh my goodness! But he'll get his pit service in, running that beautiful Media Sirius XM car. But people like Kilo Hankins still have yet to come down. Oh, I stand corrected. He will come down in the pits this time. So yeah, and once he comes out of the pits, we're gonna see the difference that new tires make, because when you pit earlier than the leader and you get those new tires, you're running way faster laps than them. And then when that stacks up, and once you've been running those faster laps for a while, once he pits and comes out of the pits, you're gonna be way ahead of him. And someone who's done that myself, personally in Ice Car, the Truck Series, I short pitted, and I managed to take the win away from what would be the race winner once the pit cycles go around, Nick Miller. So it's definitely a strategy that can come into play here.
Yeah, and there's still a couple of guys in front of Nick Miller who have yet to pit. That is Curtis Granger. Looks like he has yet to pit on the racetrack. Ty Smith hasn't pitted either. Carl Faust, Sean Major, those guys have yet to pit on the racetrack. Those will line up the top 5. And Kilo Hankins was able to get out. He's getting out of pit road now, but he's sure to be probably passed by Nick Miller. But Nick Miller's already getting a challenge right now, and they seem to cycle around to the race lead once everyone pits down. And Kilo Hankins might have a good strategy here if he doesn't get passed, which I don't think he will, considering he's on the fresher tires right now, as opposed to Nick Miller, Blaze McKinney, Glenn Bundren. Those guys have already put a run on their tires right now, so they're a little bit slower than what Kilo Hankins will run, but Kilo Hankins falls. So now the race leader will be, once these guys pit, will be the 88 and Nick Miller. Really good run for him and a great pit stop.
Yeah, and a good run, but you see these two guys behind him who are working together. That's Blaze McKinney and Glenn Bundren, very good friends. with each other. So they're obviously helping each other out, but right now they're gaining on the 88 of Nick Miller. So we could see these three battle it out for the race win here. As you see, I think Ty Smith just dipped down to the pits. Yeah, that 29 car and the 09 car. No, sorry, the 32 car of Darren Myers. They're pitting, so we only have 2 cars left on track who need to pit.
Yeah, you see Sean Major now down pit road, and just 2 drivers left to work that pit cycle. Actually, 1 more now, considering that Curtis Granger's now down pit road, and Carl Faust is yet to pit. And we'll see if Carl Faust decides to go on pit road, and yes, he will. He starts to slow down. He will head down pit road. Race leader will be Nick Miller once they come back to the start-finish line. Blaze McKinney, Glenn Bundren, Parker White. Those guys will be in the top 5 and top 6, excuse me. And then behind them, somebody who really haven't seen early in this run, he was running in the top 10. That's Ezekiel Reyes, who had a really good run at Homestead last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and a good run for him. He's back into the top 5. He finished second just behind Blaze McKinney. But as you see, Parker White just sliced through Glenn Bundren and Blaze McKinney. He's up to the second spot and good for the race and could go for the race lead. That's a pretty big surprise. He came out of nowhere and just stole the second place spot. So coming up to the back bumper of Nick Miller here and for the race lead down the front straightaway.
Yeah, what a great 95 there. It's advantage of those 2 cars of Blaze McKinney and Bundren as he looks low on Nick Miller, trying to take the lead here on the side by side, trying to get it done. Looks like he won't be able to, but we'll get the inside lane coming into Juane.
And Parker White is one of those drivers who's had really consistent runs but has yet to pick up a win this season. And he's one of those guys who's been looming around victory lane. He's been trying to get there so many times, and then he's been unlucky the past couple of races, and he hasn't been able to capture the checkered flag just yet. But even with spoiler damage, he is working that race car, and he is now in the lead of this race. So with Nick Miller and Blaze McKinney, these guys have not changed. Now Ezekiel Reyes slips into the top 5. Kilo Hankins now to 6. Darren Myers, Jack DeAndre, these guys who have cycled around the pit cycle. They're going to push through, but here's the challenge for the lead, the 88 of Nick Miller.
And back to the inside he goes, and those guys behind them, Blaze McKinney and Glenn Bundren, they're sticking back. They want to save those tires. They're not ready to make those moves yet, and I think it's a pretty good strategy to do so, but Nick Miller could get shuffled to the back of this little pack here as he's stuck on the inside, and these guys have made the outside line work pretty well.
Yeah, and that outside lane truly works when you have someone behind you to help, and Blaze McKinney is in that situation right now, so he's trying to work around Nick Miller, who was trying to get around the 95 but lost a little bit of ground. So I think they're giving him that extra shove to help him get around. You see the lap car approaching. They'll easily pass them. I got that confused, so I'll try to get it right this time around, so I don't really mix up these the lap cars with the main pack. So right now Parker White extends his lead by just a couple tenths over Nick Miller, and Blaze McKinney continues to stay behind. Now he'll work to the outside with Glenn Bundren. Glenn Bundren's basically choosing Blaze McKinney every single time they work together. They have been stuck like glue the past couple of laps.
Oh yeah, and even in super speedways, these guys are glued to each other. They're very good friends. Same state. Well, I don't think they're in the same state, but yeah, they work really well together. But while they're doing this, while they're side by side, that's allowing the 95 of Parker White to pull away. So yeah, maybe these guys want to get it sorted out, or if Nick Miller's holding them up, they want to get past him to try to catch back up to that 95 car. But I'm surprised that he's doing that with that spoiler damage.
Yeah. And, update on. Excuse me, Eli. Go ahead.
You're good. I was just gonna say how good of friends they are. We saw them make their way up to the 80 of Nick Miller when they checked out from the green flag pit stops. They're quite a bit of ways, and they used each other to get their way up there. And now they're here, and we saw the 95 take that advantage. And now he's in the lead. But yeah, definitely great friends who usually stick together. But yeah.
Yeah, and just a note, Kelan Hankins is fast. This is unexpected. He is slicing his way through the field right now, and oh boy, he's on I guess 8 lap older tires. I mean fresher tires than these guys, so he's got the speed and he's working past them really easily here. We saw him pit a little later, and you know, I talked about how short pitting can help you or can hurt the person who stays out, but one thing I didn't add is once you get those fresh tires, you're going to be flying through the field, and that's the 29 car. I believe that's a lap car. Yeah, that's a lap car.
Yes, that is the lap car. Yeah.
29 car of Ty Smith working on getting himself on lapped. Just one lap down here, but Kelan Hankins back up to second and could go for the race lead.
Yeah, Side Drafting Productions in the YouTube chat thinks the 95 has something for everyone today. Well, he's slowly catching that 95 every single turn. And right now, he is to the back bumper. He's going to make a charge for the lead right now on the back straightaway. He's going to look for the race lead down to turn 3. He's going to make it happen.
Yeah, and those fresh tires, you see, like I said before, those fresh tires, you can see how much of a difference they make. And he just flew past them. Even if they're just half a run faster than the guys up front, they are fast. Wow, very impressive how he got through that field so fast. And we see the 29 car could get his lap back here. He was one of the people who pitted late with people like Curtis Granger and Carl Faust. So he's working on getting himself unlapped. But I have a prediction. These guys, the fuel run here is about, I want to say 30 laps. And the people like Curtis Granger and Carl Faust and Ty Smith, they pitted with exactly 30 laps to go. And they were in the lead. So I think my prediction for this race is those guys, if they save enough fuel, they should be able to make it to the end on this run. Everyone up front right now has to pit. But if they just save some fuel, work on saving that tank, they could make it to the end and probably win off of fuel mileage.
That is true, and that depends on whether we have a caution from here on out. Right now, just about lap 53, so we're almost concluded with this race. Just 22 laps remain. Be a possibility when it comes down to if we stay green the rest of the way, and if Curtis Granger and those guys who pitted, like you mentioned, those guys could easily stretch into the end of this race. And if these guys had to pit, those guys can take advantage and they can really work this strategy and possibly be there at the end of this race. And just a little update about Keaton Jones, who was down in that pit strategy, who was in the front of the field. He is currently 18 laps down in 20 seconds. Seems as though his computer had some issues. So looks like, yeah, some troubles for that 62. He was running a really good race, and sucks to see him having issues like that. He really had something for these leaders, and it was fun to watch. But right now, the man who's currently in the spot for the $5 in the bounty, that's Kelan Hankins sitting in first. He's about a second over Parker White.
Yeah, that 72 was bad fast. You saw him just slice through the field right there. I'm interested to see if these cars behind him have anything to do for him, and I'm also interested to see the strategy on here on out. Definitely going to shake things up if we see a caution. If not, it's going to be interesting to see what the pit strategy is going to be, and if that 72 car can hold them off and maybe take her to victory lane tonight and take some $5.
Yeah, and Blaze McKinney looking back for that second place spot, and on 87's on all the tires, but he's done a terrific job to save those tires, and now he's using them to get back up there. So yeah, Blaze McKinney is probably one of the best tire savers that I know, and he is obviously showing that right now. But you know, tires are coming into effect. As you see, the 88 past the 37, back for fourth place. So yeah, this track, tires do matter, as we saw in our broadcast earlier today at ISM Raceway. Those tires did matter, especially when we got into that long run, and we saw Blaze McKinney save them up, and yeah, he used them to his advantage on the 42 car. So obviously Blaze lost that race just by a couple car lengths, but he's still one of the best long run drivers that I know.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney had the short end of the stick in that one. If you joined us for that Phoenix race at LWRC Cup Series earlier today, Blaze McKinney had one of the best cars in the field, and he went back and forth through the field, and he had to carve all the way back on a green-white checkered attempt. He ended up losing the race by just a little bit, overshot turn 3 and 4, and that gave the win to Cole Williams, and he was just short of that win. And right now he's looking with red eyes. He's looking angry, trying to come up to Kelan Hankins. He just now passed the 95 of Parker White, but Kelan Hankins, with his strategy, he basically jumped the rest of the field, and with those fresher tires, it makes the difference. And once these guys have those tires that wear down even more, Kelan Hankins will still have a little bit fresher, even though they're also worn. And these guys in this top 10 have pretty much shuffled around. Now you see Curtis Granger peek into 6th place. Looks like Ezekiel Reyes fell back a couple of spots. He was up in 5th place just before a couple laps to go. Now he seems he's losing spots as these laps progress. A tough night right now for Ezekiel Reyes, but Curtis Granger, he's one of the drivers that you watch for, Charlie, and you're saying. And also, I feel like Jack DeAndrea also could have peaked the run. I think he pitted just a little bit earlier, but I think that if he's able to save, which is kind of hard considering he's pretty much not near anyone on the racetrack right now, he could possibly be in this race at the end of this too. As you see, we're on board with Curtis Granger into turn 2.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hear his throttle because I feel like he's letting off a little bit early, trying to save that fuel. So I think people like Curtis Granger, they're gonna try to leapfrog us. We got a wreck up front, just ahead of them.
Oh no!
And we got cars up into the wall here. Hamburg with Curtis Granger. Oh boy. We saw some cars go around. I believe that's the 32. Who was involved in that? We're gonna get a replay because we kind of experienced that with Curtis Granger. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're gonna get a replay of this one.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happened. It happened pretty much right in front of Curtis Granger. It was these guys, Sean Major and the 59. He spun him around. I think they were just aggressive driving with each other, and he got into the quarter panel, and that was enough to send him around. And that is the caution. Of course, the 59 of Brayson Collins, he is a lap down. Sean Major is also a lap down. I believe they were fighting for position right there, and you see he gets into the 59. That causes the yellow. Boy, I was not expecting that whatsoever, but now that strategy that you mentioned with the long green flag run, that is pretty much dissipated.
Oh yeah, that is gone for sure, and all these guys are now on a level playing field, because I can tell you already that all these guys are going to come down pit road, get those 4 fresh tires, and we're going to have a 15-lap dash to the finish, so it's going to be exciting for sure. But I can tell you, if we stayed green, that was going to be really exciting with that pit strategy.
Yeah, definitely still exciting nonetheless. As we see the cars come down pit road, we'll see some great racing with the 72 of Hankins, and who has been fast all night long with that 87 machine of Blaze McKinney, who's obviously a great racer and a great contender in this series. But we'll see how this pit strategy will shake things up. But cars coming to pit road right now.
Down to pit road goes the rest of the field. That includes Jack D'Angelo, of course, the front runners, Glenn Bundren, Blaze McKinney, Parker White, Nick and Miller. Those guys also down pit road. The rest of the field with them. And Nick and Miller with the first spot. He could take an advantage, but Kilo Hankins is off. Blaze McKinney is off. Close, but he'll give it to the 72. Parker White in a third, and Nick and Miller will fall to 5th. And those guys off of pit road, they'll work themselves around, and that is the race for what could be the win tonight. If we shake that up, that could be the drivers fighting. You see the race off pit road. Kilo Hankins, Blaze McKinney, Parker White, Bundren Miller. And there's D'Andrea, Darren Myers. Some guys still on pit road include Joe Berge. There's Carl Faust and Ryan Potter. Those guys off of pit road on this run. And boy, that we're talking about the long green flag run, and then obviously that happened on the back straightaway. A very bizarre instance there, but truly insane. And when we come back, we'll give more action here from the Michigan Speedway on this last dash to the end of the race with the 15 laps remaining. You're watching the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series live from Michigan. KBRN's live coverage of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. Join thousands of sim racers across the world. And there's EO Media. Get your graphics done. Just text EO.media on Instagram. And, of course, Supermix, concrete blocks on demand. We have a full level playing field here at Michigan as we get the one from the pace car. This pit strategy, the long green flag run, was thrown out the window after Sean Major and the 59 got collected. But now this gives the opportunity for the rest of the field to try and give something for that 72 of Kelan Hankins. The pace car comes off of turn 4. He will slip down pit road. We'll take the green flag and prepare for some super speedway type pack racing. This is going to be fun. Green flag.
Green, green, green.
And yeah, this playing field is leveled out. And we're going to see it, like you just mentioned, then we're going to see that pack racing that we saw earlier. Double wide, almost 3 wide. This is going to be intense come towards the end. We have a 13-lap stint we have here.
We have 13 laps left. There'll be no pitting. Definitely going to be exciting to see. There's no drivers that have 10 laps, older tires, or 10 laps, newer tires. So definitely going to be some great racing with this even playing field as the 87 tries to get down low as long as that 95, but not going to work there. 72 continues to lead.
Yeah, an aggressive blocking down the back straightaway, almost down to the apron. Reminds me of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That long back straightaway is so good for runs, but the help is on the top here as Kelan Hankins shifts down to the bottom. Here comes Blaze McKinney, Nick Miller making his way back up there. They are side by side for the race lead going into 1.
They were clean on that first lap, and they're clean right now. Blaze trying to make the move to the... Seems as though he might get it done with the help of Nick Miller in the 88. See somebody go down the apron. Looks like they won't take an effect right now, but here comes Nick Miller to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to try to make a move for 3rd place under the 95, and look how close that 87 is to the 72. This could be the race for the win if they keep going off of turn 4.
Yeah, Nick Miller obviously an aggressive driver, but here comes Glenn Bundren, another aggressive driver. These guys are going all out. Here comes Mitch Hobbs peeking into the top 6. And wow, these guys are single file all the way down to the apron. Kelan Hankins doing all the blocking so far, and he will maintain the race lead. Just 11 laps to go here at Michigan, but the intensity has ramped up a ton.
Yeah, it has, and Kelan Hankins still trying to hold on to his lead right now. Remember the sets of tires. Look at Parker White trying to make a move to the bottom. He is desperate for that race lead, and he's trying to get it done under the 87. He can't quite get the move done on that white line. It seems as though that might hold them both back up a little bit, and that'll allow Kelan Hankins to get a little bit of a run. He's trying to break the draft down the front straightaway. Boy, this is the time where big blocking happens between all of these guys up front.
And we got a yellow flag out on the racetrack. This changes everything. We're going to have a 10-lap stint to the end here. And we see Joe Burgee with trouble. The car in front of him has trouble as well. We're going to get a replay of this. But, wow, this is going to bunch up the field once again.
Take a look and see what happened in turn 3 and 4. That must have involved Joe Burgee, who we saw was around in turn 4. We'll take a look. These guys are bunched up. That's Ezekiel Reyes in the 04, the 09 green numbers. They gets into the 18. They check up behind them, and it seems as though the 83 was trying to check up. Looks he gets tagged by the 08 of James Hill, and then that sends the 83 around. The 08 also goes down into the grass, and then those guys bring out the yellow with just 10 laps remaining in this race, and it was looking to be a good run right now in a battle for position between this top 5, and looks like it's going to be ramped up once again as these guys double up. And, of course, nobody's going to pit, but this shakes up everything. Look at that fake. Oh, no, he goes down
goodness, a fake out gone wrong. All these guys pit except Blaze McKinney. This is going to shake up everything. I can tell you this right now.
Oh, my goodness. I did not expect this 72. I thought he was going to kind of fake down and try to get everyone behind him, though he faked and decided to go pit anyway. So that kind of shakes up a lot of the people who are probably planning to pit. Normally, you see Parker White, Nick Miller, Glenn Bundren, those guys pit. Jack DeAndrea, Ezekiel Reyes, those guys pit as well. And that'll shake up a lot of things, considering that you mentioned the man who possibly could have had that fuel run on the green flag run to be up front for the end of this race. He's still there regardless. That's Curtis Granger in the 77.
And Jack DeAndrea comes out with a blazing pit stop. That's a 2-tire strategy for that 28 car. He's going to be ahead. This, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how much this just shook up. And the 3 cars who stayed out, they're on 7, they pit 7 laps ago. But Jack DeAndrea with a 2-tire strategy, I wouldn't really oppose to that strategy because we didn't run that many laps. We just had a 5-lap stint, so that left side really didn't wear out that much. So I think it's a good strategy. I'm surprised all these guys took 4, but wow.
Yeah guys, this is big. Definitely gonna be shaking up. Definitely got the track position for those cars who stayed out with the 87 and the 77 and the 12, but also the debate of the cars who pit who are on shorter tires. Only a few more laps to the end here. It's definitely going to be big, and what a strategy by that 28 of DeAndrea. Hasn't been up here all night long, but definitely a good strategy. I don't think the not taking Forest House will make that much of a difference on track, but this is going to be an interesting one, guys.
Yeah, Jack DeAndrea with an insane strategy to put himself in front of these guys who were leading the race for pretty much most of the long green flag run, and he'll start in the outside of row 2. That is going to be interesting to watch. And of course, Carl Faust is also down there in the second row, as well as Curtis Granger. Those guys who haven't really shown up all race have been kind of quiet. They've worked themselves now to this front row. So now this shakes up everything, and the guys who were pretty much battling for the lead early in this run have a little work to do now on the restart.
Yeah, and usually, you know, in situations like this where the guys up front start to pit and the guys from the back who stayed out get shuffled up front, usually they'd have a good bunch of cars that those guys pit have to go through. But this is totally different. They only have 3 cars that they have to get through, and with just 5 lap, 8 lap, 9 lap older tires, it shouldn't be that hard, which is going to make this very exciting, because we saw Blaze McKinney, who we mentioned is a really good tire saver. Could still possibly be in contention, but we also have to bring in Jack DeAndrea, who took 2 tires. He just put himself in contention. There are a lot of different factors that are going into this. I believe just 8 lap stint to the finish. So an 8 lap dash to the finish is going to be really exciting.
Oh boy, I am on the edge of my seat waiting for this to happen and waiting for that green flag to drop. And the pace car has its lights off, so that means we will go green this time by off of turn 4. Blaze McKinney, Curtis Granger, Carl Faust, Jack DeAndrea, the 2 front rows right now that'll lead the field to green. Green flag is back out on what could be the final restart of the race. We'll just have to see, and the green flag is out. We're underway.
And Parker White jumps up to the outside of Jack DeAndrea, but Blaze McKinney with a really good pit stop. I mean, not pit stop, my bad. Restart, and we are almost 4 wide into turn number 1. Joel Hankins with an aggressive move. He's all the way up to 3rd already, and Curtis Granger is going to be hard charging down the back straightaway.
Yeah, 2 cars that did not pit check out first, but that 72 Keola Hankins who did pit right behind him and chased. Oh, that 12 car bounces around. He's around. Cars around. Holy moly, another caution out at Michigan. Comes with only 8 laps to go. This is going to be an exciting finish.
Oh no, and that involved the 95 of Parker White, who was having a great run up until this point and got caught up with the cars behind him. He was working the outside, trying to get around all these guys since he had the fresher tires, and it seems as though he kind of got caught up right there. It looks like, yeah, they all check up and they all go up into the outside. They wash up the track, and that hits the 95, the 04 of Ezekiel Reyes, hard hit into the inside wall. Carl Faust also was spinning on the back straightaway, and that causes another yellow. And we'll have to reset the field one more time, and now that allows some of the drivers who had a little bit of work to do now, they have even less work to do, considering there's some drivers that got involved in front of them.
Yeah, and it just got really tight off of turn 2. Nothing really any of those drivers could do. They're all going for it. They know they have those fresh tires. They know they have the opportunity to do so. So, yeah, it's a really tough spot to be in. But, wow, once again, it shook up what we currently have here. And we see Mitch Hobbs just right outside the top 5. He's looking for a good finish here. And people like Keola Hankins on that restart went from, I believe, 5th to 3rd. So, yeah, you really see how these fresher tires stack up against the guys with not even that much older tires.
Yeah, and we have a question down in the YouTube chat by LVB asks, what is the perfect ending to this type of race, Charlie?
Well, perfect ending, in my opinion, would be a long green flag run, but, yeah, but obviously, when you get to these green-white checkers and you're waiting in a caution, you're getting more nervous and nervous, and you're just waiting to see what's going to happen. So I think cautions, those long cautions definitely play a big role in anticipating what's coming next. But personally, a perfect finish in my book is old tires and those guys sliding around all over the place.
Yeah, perfect ending for me would be a green flag run. So you could see some shaking up and definitely some great racing at the end. So I'd like to see someone a new face in victory lane, someone who you wouldn't expect. But yeah, we're definitely gonna get a good finish nonetheless of what happens. But still, yeah, that's my perfect ending.
Yeah, I think anyone, if you're a fan yourself, you'd love to see a photo finish all the way to the line, and we've had those here at Michigan before in the real life side of things. With if you remember 2017 Xfinity race with Denny Hamlin and William Byron, they went side by side all the way to the line on the last lap, and of course you want a photo finish, but like you guys mentioned, those old tires where those guys are slipping up, those guys are trying every bit they can to try to get every inch of grip on the racetrack. That's also super fun to watch, and which drivers kind of handle that better than others. And that really tests the driver's skill and the driver's ability to keep the race car under them instead of being involved in some trouble by themselves. But looks like we will get another restart. Looks like to be lap 72. I believe if we get the 1 to green signal, we do. So that means we'll go green on lap number 72 with just 3 laps remaining. And of course, if a caution comes out in these next couple laps, that means that'll trigger a green-white checkered. And a green-white checkered if they'll have 2 laps to go to the white flag and to the checkered flag. And if a caution comes out before the white flag comes out, make another attempt. They'll go for 3 times. And if they go to the white flag, the next flag will end the race. And that'll be it. But we still have some racing left to go, and some tight racing at that. At best, we have Curtis Granger, Kilo Hankins, Jack DeAndrea. Boy, has this top 4 shaken up immensely. Mitch Hobbs on the outside of row 3. He could possibly make a move for this race win if he can get the run on the outside. And we've seen the outside work before, so I don't think we see any different this time around.
Yeah, just a 4-lap shootout to the finish. A bit longer than a green-white checkered, and green-white checkered, it's kind of just 2 and done. But we're going to see a pretty lengthy stint to the finish here, so yeah, it's unpredictable for sure, especially with these new tires. It's like we said, it's comparable to Talladega almost, and people like Jack DeAndre and Kilo Hankins and Nick Miller looking for that opportunity to score a finish and maybe a win, because the guys up front, currently 1 and 2, are 5 laps on their fresh tires, so yeah, it's going to be unpredictable for sure.
Here we go on a restart on lap number 72. It'll be up to the 87 to go, and he does all the way with a huge run. That might not work for him coming to turn 2, but we'll see what happens. They almost go 3 wide behind them with Mitch Hobbs on the top side.
Yeah, Jack DeAndre just didn't get the restart that he wanted. Mitch Hobbs obviously took that opportunity to his own advantage, and they went 3 wide, and contact between them. Jack DeAndre loose on the racetrack, and he might go around, oh boy, and into the wall he goes. That might bring out another caution. There it is. And that's going to push us into an overtime finish. 2 laps of racing here.
Yeah, it's not a great restart there by that 28 of DeAndrea. Kind of fell back into that sucker hole with cars all around him. I guess he couldn't take the pressure there, and we'll see. We'll get a replay here and see what exactly happens. But you see on the restart, DeAndrea on the outside looks like he just checks up, doesn't get quite the restart. That 89 is good outside very slow compared to his other cars. They look around him. I'm interested to see what happens there. 3 wide. Goes up into that 89. Just goes straight up into him, and then gets loose from there and collects a couple cars with him. Unfortunate for those cars collected, but just a bad restart there by the 28.
Yeah, he also hit the 29 of Ty Smith. It looks like he was about to save it down the racetrack, and then he got into contact with the 18 of Kelan Belsha, and that also that further sent him around on the racetrack with another caution being triggered. With 3 laps to go, this will be the green-white checkered attempt that we'll have at the end of this race. It'll be the first attempt at a green-white checkered, and this is going to be interesting. We're trying to see what happens, and it seems as though every time we have this restart, everyone continues to shake up this top 5. Now Kilo Hankins in the 2nd, Curtis Granger in the 3rd, Nick Miller will start on the outside, Ryan Potter, then Jackson Harmon, and Mitch Hobbs in 7th.
Yeah, it's goodness gracious. I just can't wait to get back going green here. It's obviously going to be a really exciting finish, and despite it not being a super speedway, you can still get those really good 3 wide finish, or at least side by side photo finishes. So yeah, but I have to ask you, Kenneth, we just have 2 laps remaining. It's a bit hard to predict these types of races, but who do you think is going to come out on top?
Well, I mean, I think my luck with picking people hasn't gone too well. I mean, I picked Keaton Jones to be prediction, and he had some issues, so now he won't be here at the end of the race. And, you know, usually picks I have don't end up in the best situation at the end of these races, but I think the person that really has a shot is pretty much Nick Miller. I think Nick Miller has shown to the 87 all day that he has what it takes. He's got what it takes to go past him, and he pretty much can maintain himself in front of that 87. So I think the 88, if he can get a strong one with his friend Kelan Hankins right in front of him on the outside, they could easily make that work. And if they make that work, that'll be trouble for the 87, especially if he has a huge run on the restart like he has these past couple of times. Charlie?
Yeah, my prediction, you picked Nick Miller. He's on those fresh tires. Same strategy as my pick, Kelan Hankins. I just think those fresh tires are just so much better. Even if it's not that much, you know, even if you got them just 5 laps after in the car in front of you, it's still going to make that difference, especially in these Cup cars. So I think Kelan Hankins from the outside could take this win away.
Yeah, if I had to choose one, I still would stick with who I picked earlier, and that would be Kelan Hankins. As Charlie said, he's been bad fast all night long, and I think he'll be able to stick it with 2 laps to go. Hopefully, we do make it to the white flag, but I believe he will be able to be contained there at the end, and he has what it takes to battle there with Blaise McKinney in the 87.
Yep, and it all comes down to what happens now on the first green white checkered attempt. It'll be Blaise McKinney, Kelan Hankins, Curtis Granger. We have Nick Miller on the outside. Then goes Ryan Potter, who we haven't seen much of this race. He needs this as much as anybody else, considering where he is in the point standings. He needs a really good day. He's now in 5th, so he can capitalize on that, get some of those points. Jackson Hartman, who was a lap down earlier in this race, he's now back up to 6th. Mitch Hobbs, who made a move to the outside. He was involved in that incident with Jack DeAndre. He's now sits 7th. Then goes Darren Myers, Henry Tabor, and Glenn Bundren rounds out the top 10 and will reach the green flag on this green-white checkered attempt. We have 3, so if this one doesn't work, we'll try 2 more times until we can get a finish to this race and crown the winner here at Michigan in race 5. And with this bounty, it makes everything much more intense, because if you can beat that 87, even by just the slightest bit, even by just a couple of inches, those $5 are yours. So it's free game for everybody down here in this top 5, and pretty much anyone considering what will happen to this 87 on this restart.
Yeah, it's going to be intense for sure. The intensity has ramped up a lot during this caution. We appreciate you all in the chat coming out here tonight, but we still got a show to put on here. Green flag, green-white check for that 87 of Blaise McKinney, a 3-car length lead, and we are underway for the last 2 laps here at Michigan.
On this green-white checkered attempt, they are 3 wide. It looks like almost for 2nd place. That's Curtis Granger. He gets it just a little bit loose. He's able to keep it straight. Oh my goodness, that'll allow Kelan Hankins and Nick Miller to take the advantage for 2nd place. Right now, they continue to battle down the back straightaway. Another hard hit. Parker White's into the wall. And boy, I think that, not sure who that was behind him. You see Ty Smith gets involved late in the running. I think that might have been Darren Myers involved, and it is. That 09 got a hard hit to the front end, just like he did early in this race. And yet again, another caution that'll bring us to another attempt at a green-white checkered. Boy, this is intense. It seems as though these guys continue to get into trouble off of turn 2 into that back straightaway. And, you know, for good reason. These guys are trying everything they can to get every spot. You see Parker White dives below the 09. It looks pretty harmless there until it looks like, yeah, he gets up into the 09 and a hard hit to the outside.
Yeah, it's just tough for Parker White. I have sympathy for him, because he was running just so well in the stages of this race, and it really stinks to have that just go downhill for him. So sympathy for him, but also we see the 18 car had a bit of trouble, I guess. Oh yeah, Jessica Stella just tagged him a bit. Not sure what happened there before then, but he's launched with the inside wall, so unfortunate for him as well. And I want to look back at this restart, because we saw, on this restart, we go back to see the 72 here. He just gets taken 3 wide, or well, the 72 gets under him, and just didn't get the restart that he wanted. So 3 wide going into Terminal 1, but almost gets tagged there.
Yeah, and that contact with Curtis Granger didn't really help his run either. Tag up the high side and make that move to the top side, and Curtis Granger fell back ever since then, and that was tough for the 77, so he falls back to 6th place. So he's not completely out of it yet, but he still has a little bit of work to do now. He has to pass a couple more cars, and look who's down to the bottom this time around. That is the 88 of Nick Miller. You think he might have the restart to beat the 87 this time?
Yeah. And this is going to push us into our second attempt at a green white checker, and if they wreck again, that's going to be our third and final attempt. So if the caution comes out on our third attempt, that's going to end the race. So I would not like to see that person. I'm sure everyone else doesn't as well. But yeah, but if it happens, that's just going to end the race.
I definitely think he does. We've seen the cars behind the 87. 87 hasn't been dominating like he has in races past. We've seen other drivers in the lead, so I definitely think that 88 of Miller definitely has a chance there. If the restart goes well, obviously Blaze McKinney had a perfect situation there with 3 wide behind him, and they're just racing and making contact, and he just checks out. But if they can stay consistently with them, that 72 and that 88, I think they both definitely have a chance to take the win away from that 87.
Yeah, it is tough, and that 87 continues to hold the lead, and this is going to be another attempt at a green-white checkered, our second of the night. We have one more left. If we don't have it, if we have that one and that also fails, then the last caution will end the race for sure, and we'll have a winner at the end of this race. You have another question down in the YouTube chat by Joe Kanako. He asks, racer from the series, currently on vacation and missing racing in this series a lot, but his question is, what has been your favorite part about broadcasting races for the Bundren series? Charlie, I'm gonna give you the rights on this one first.
Well, my favorite part of just broadcasting in general and this series is just prepping for the broadcasts and trying to make it look as neat as possible, because I know it means a lot to you, Kenneth, obviously owner of KBRN, but I want to succeed and make the broadcast look as good as possible. So, for the series in general, I really like the people who race in the series. I think they're all really good people, and I like those feel good stories of guys who score like a top 5 or a podium finish. So, yeah, that's my favorite part. What about you, Kenneth?
Well, I think my favorite part about broadcasting this series in particular is kind of the cooperation we with the guys in this series. This series is kind of adds a little more personal touch as opposed to some other leagues, which are a little more professional. And obviously that there is a point, they're right by doing so, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the little personal touch and how small this series was last season compared to how big it's grown, I think that's fun to watch, to see how many new drivers show up, how many drivers try to fight for position and pretty much try to make a name for themselves in the series. And that's very, very fun to watch. And we're going to go to this green flag right now. And this will be the second attempt at a green-white checkered for Blaze McKinney, Kilo Hankins, and the rest of them behind. Bashing the gas pedal will be the 87 one more time. He gets another good start, and we are back green on the second attempt at a green-white checkered.
Once again, a decent league heading into turn number 1. But those two fresh tire guys there side by side. It's like Blaze McKinney fending for himself out here on those guys with fresh tires. But into turn number 1, Nick Miller takes second place away from Kelan Hankins, and he might have the run down the back straightaway.
He does have the run with Kelan Hankins behind him. Eli, must have cut you off there. But oh no, Nick Miller gets turned on the back straightaway. What just happened there?
Oh no, that is big implications to the right there. A contender all night long. The 88 of Miller just goes from sprints. How unfortunate for him. He was looking nice there for the win right there with only 2 laps to go. Him racing weekends on the high side. Trying to help him around 87. It looks like he flips to 72 and around he goes. Very unfortunate for Nick Miller.
He was running so well. It looks like he just stepped out of line, and then the 87 blocked and killed his momentum. And I guess Kelan Hankins was expecting him to keep going forward and just chopped his rear bumper. So very unfortunate. Kelan Hankins with front end damage as well. Curtis Granger involved as well. And this once again shakes up our top 5 as Nick Miller comes to a screeching halt in turn number 3.
See what I told you about my picks? They don't really seem to end well, do they? They don't at all. And I had Nick Miller for this one. I think if a driver hears me on the broadcast say their name for a pick, I think they have to kind of be more cautious of what happens around them, because then things like that happen. And my picks don't seem to work out as well as they could. But Nick Miller, it seems as though it might have been a little miscommunication there, just a wrong bumper touch at the wrong time. Looks like Nick Miller was trying to fake to the low side and then work himself back high, but then Kelan Hankins probably wasn't expecting him to come back up the track, and then they both collided and his bumper tapped the quarter panel, and that was enough to send him into the wall. And that gave Kelan Hankins some damage. That gave Curtis Granger some damage as well. Of course, they're still in the second row, but that damage possibly will affect the aero on that car and possibly not make them as fast as they were before. See a lap car come around. I believe that's the 31. That's Shane DiMantova. He's 46 laps down. And one thing to mention, we have 18 cars on the lead lap. Nick Miller is the last one now on the lead lap, considering he just got into that incident there. And first cars lap down will be Darren Myers, who's now 3 down. He has to get more cautions, but that's looking unlikely for him to get it, as if there's a caution after this attempt, it will end the race for good. And that'll be what happens with those guys back there. But up front now, it's changed so much. Look who's now in second. Don't look now, but it's the 19 of Jackson Hartman, who was just a lap down early in the run, who we mentioned.
Yeah, and we saw him as a lap car just plow through the field, or not really plow, but efficiently. I don't know what I'm saying. He got through the field pretty quickly as a lap car here, so he finds himself currently sitting second, and he's in a really good spot to maybe steal this race win. Again, he's on those fresher tires, same strategy as everyone who's not Blaze McKinney, but yeah, he's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, he made his way up from being a lap car. Kenneth, you're able to say his name now without him being a lap car. I know you guys had some trouble confusion with that, but yeah, definitely he's made his way back up, and it'll be interesting to see if he'll be relentless and battle back and maybe even win. That'll be quite a story there with that 19 Hartman.
Okay, so now he's in contention for the race win, and not just a lap down. Okay, so I'm right on that one.
Yes, correct.
So that's
Mr.
good.
Bueno.
Yes, that is good. I'm glad. So now we're gonna go on our final attempt. This is the third time, and hopefully the third time is the charm, and we can get this race finished and hopefully have an exciting end to this race. Remember, the guys with damage, they're still not out of it yet. They're in row 2, both of them, Curtis Granger and Kelan Hankins. But look behind them, it's Ryan Potter, and that'll be the 37 of Glenn Bundren. So those guys still have some fire for the 87 and the guys up front. And we saw how good those outside lines work, so I don't think we'll be too surprised to see guys get runs here. And yeah, it is going to be fun. This is the final time. If we can't get this run through, if we get another caution prior to the white flag, that will end the race for sure. And if the 87 is up front in the field by the time that happens, the bounty will still be up, and it'll be doubled, $10 next week at Iowa. So that's going to be fun to watch, and we're going to bring you all that coverage next Monday here on the KBueno Racing Network. But we're not just done with this race just yet. We have one more attempt at a green-white checkered. We'll see what happens and what goes down between these drivers in the top 10 and the top 5, and so on. The 87 will lead the field of green in command once again. Jackson Hartman to his outside. Green flag once again on the last green-white checkered attempt.
Blaze McKinney wants to get another start. And, oh, the 99 car. Hopefully that's not going to bring another caution out, because this is our last attempt at a green-white checkered. If the caution comes out, we're not going racing again. But no caution so far. But Blaze McKinney with the advantage. Curtis Granger with the bent up front end. Currently in second here. But here comes Glenn Bundren. But Blaze McKinney with a pretty sizable gap here.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney with the near full
no.
auto car down in the apron. I think we'll be able to keep her green. Yep, he looks like he saves it there. Glenn Bundren with the mirror full of Hartman and Granger doing anything they can. Also, Bundren right behind them. I'll be interested to see if they'll get there. It looks like the Hartman is continuing right there. He's made his way to that bumper, that 87. Lost a little bit of ground, but he is right back in contention there as we see the 37 of Bundren right there battling with the 77 of Granger. We are white flag here at Michigan. 1 lap to go. The 87 and the 19 battling it out.
And 1 lap to go here, and the time is now. Curtis Granger a little too far back to make a move, but down to the outside, down to the back straightaway for the final time. Jackson Hartman with the advantage, going into turn number 3. Can Blaze McKinney do a bit of contact there into turn number 3 for the final time? Kenneth?
This is it. Jackson Hartman with a good move to the outside. He's going to make... We'll see if Blaze McKinney has a charge off of turn 4. Jackson Hartman looks there. The 87 looks low. Can it be enough? Down to the line. It's going to be Hartman. Hartman gets the $5. He wins the bounty, and he gets his first win in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series here at Michigan. What a finish. What a pass. What a move for the 19 of Jackson Hartman. He went from a lap down, and I got him confused. But now I'm surely right. He is the winner of tonight's race in race 5. Oh my goodness.
And wow.
Holy moly.
That did not disappoint for sure. And Blaze McKinney, maybe he could have had something down the final stretch, down the front straightaway, but someone has dethroned the king here. And Jackson Hartman takes his first ever Bundren Lawn Care Series win at Michigan International Speedway. So a very impressive finish and a very impressive performance by that 19 car for sure. Coming from a lap down.
Yeah, what a relentless battle by that 19. Could have just gave up from being a lap down and just rode the rest of the race, but he battled his way from being a lap car all the way to the win. What an impressive storyline. What a race by that 19 team.
Boy, it is going to be tough to see how Blaze McKinney feels after that one, and we have to take a replay. We cannot ignore that replay on that final lap. Jackson Hartman with the daring move to the outside. I said that the outside would work in some ways, and it ended up working for that 19. We'll get a replay and show you what happened on that final lap. You see Blaze McKinney gets the run on the restart, but Jackson Hartman crept ever so slowly to the back of that 87, and when he took that opportunity, he took it and he seized it right there. You see down the front straightaway, right here is where he gets that run, and he works to the outside. That's a good decision instead of going all the way low, and that ended up working for him perfectly. You see in a turn 1, easy run for that 19, pins him down to the bottom of the racetrack and just accelerates off the corner with that momentum. The 87 almost gets into the 19. They had a little bit of contact right there on the back straightaway, trying to work themselves around. You see the contact right there between the two, and the 19 just took the lead from there on out. He gets the win, his first win this season. Oh my goodness. What a finish. I could not believe that.
And I thought Blaze McKinney had something for him down the front straightaway.
Yeah, me too.
I think he tried to get to that bumper off of turn 4 and just got tight, but I think if he stuck behind him, he could have had something for him. But, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, and now we'll get to the results and see where everybody finished here at Michigan. Jackson Hartman with his first win this season. He picks up his first one and the $5 from that bounty that was against the guy who finished second tonight, Blaze McKinney in the 87. He finishes second for the first time this season. Then goes Glenn Bundren, finishes up the podium. Curtis Granger into fourth, another good top 5 for him. Then goes Joe Berge, Mitch Hobbs, Jack DeAndre, who was the cause of a caution earlier in the race. He finishes 7th in the top 10. Kilo Hankins, who looked like he could have been the winner, finishes in 8th. Then goes Henry Tabor. Brayson Collins finishes out the top 10 tonight.
And just outside the top 10, Ezekiel Reyes, who we talked about a bit in the race. He got involved in a wreck when the race started to wind down. He finishes just right outside of the top 10. Ty Smith finishing 12th. Carl Faust 13th. Parker White 14th. Ryan Potter, your 15th place finisher in that 99 car. Joseph Costello scores a 16th place finish. JJ Hill, just one lap down, scores a 17th place finish. Nick Miller, who got turned from 2nd place, finishes 5 laps down in 18th. Darren Myers 19th, and Kelan Belsha just 10 laps down will round out your top 20.
Further down the leaderboard, we have the 31 of Shane DeMantova, the 62 of Keaton Jones, who seemed to have computer problems, the 6 of Alfred Vancer, sorry about that one, the 4 of Jacob Tyler May, the 5 of Dominic Curran, the 30 of PJ Merrill, the 20 of Colin Lights, the 49 of Sataj Mann, the 32 of Sean Major, and the 69 of Corey Hartz.
Then rounding out behind the 30 car field is nobody, because we have cars perfectly lined up for this event, and those guys near the rear of the field had some troubles early, and they couldn't really get back up to the front. But right now, what a emotional win this must have been for Jackson Hartman. When we come back, we will give you the interviews of the top 5, especially with your race winner, see how he feels, and Blaze McKinney from that bounty. And We'll take a short break, get that for you once we come back. Oh my goodness. We'll be right back. This is the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series live from Michigan. Stay tuned. We'll have more interviews soon. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway and what has been an insane run to the finish. And the man who has taken that bounty from Blaze McKinney tonight and those $5 is Jackson Hartman, and taking the checkered flag as well. We'll bring him into the booth. First of all, Jackson, welcome to the KBRN booth. You got a copy with us?
Yes, I do. How's it going?
Hey, man. First of all, congratulations on a great win there. You pulled the move at the end. Just tell us how you were feeling knowing that you were approaching that 87 and how you were strategizing that move on the final laps.
Honestly, I was super nervous. I knew I had fresher tires than him. Coming to the white flag, I wanted the bottom, but I didn't want to let my run go, so I went to his top to just see what I could do. He ran a little high going into the corner to try to push me up, but I was able to at least maintain the momentum from the high side and got the run down the straightaway. I messed up 3 and 4 a little bit, and I thought he was going to get a run on me coming back to the line, but luckily he did not, and hung on to win after being a lap down there for a while.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that for a little bit. You went lap down a little bit ago. I kind of confused you early in the broadcast as being part of that main pack, but you were a lap down, and you worked your way all the way to the top of the board at the end of this race. Tell us how that feels coming all the way down from what looked like a pretty bleak situation to taking that checkered flag at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, we were coming to 10 to go, and I just had kind of given up on it, that I was just going to be a lap down and I'd finish 18th, and that was just the way it was going to go. It just got penalized there. Had to take the 1 lap penalty. Decided I was trying to just do it the old-fashioned way, but then pit strategy kind of came there, and I ended up losing all the guys I was close with. But some cautions fell my way there at the end. I was able to get back around, and then people in front of me kind of just kept dropping like flies as they were wrecking each other. So I was able to capitalize on that and win.
All right, well, Jackson, we're going to let you celebrate your first win of the season here in Michigan. But before we let you go, you got any sponsors or teams you want to thank for making today happen?
I just want to thank my dad out there for watching today.
Oh, that's amazing. That is surely a great shout out. Totally worthy. Totally worthy of it. Jackson, congratulations on your first win of the season. You pulled off an insane move. We were going crazy up in the booth on those final laps as you were passing Blaze McKinney, and you got the $5 in the bounty. So that must feel good as well, knowing you took your first win and the bounty from Blaze McKinney. So congratulations on the win. We hope to see you next weekend in Iowa, and just go celebrate your win, man.
Yeah, will do. Thanks, guys.
Jackson Hartman goes from 1 lap down to the winner at the end of the night at Michigan. We'll get the second place finisher interview in. That is the man who got his bounty captured by another driver. That is Blaze McKinney. We'll bring Blaze McKinney in, and I'll give Charlie the interview here. Charlie, go ahead.
All right, Blaze, this is Charlie in the KBRN booth. You got a copy with us?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, Blaze, this is the second time today I've had an interview for you for coming up short. What happened this time, man?
Draft happened. I was a sitting duck, and he got the run on me, and I don't know. It was just, I mean, I don't think it was the tires either. Like, I felt like I still had pretty solid tires, and just got a run on me from the draft. And I tried to get a good enough restart where he would only get a run on me, like, right as the finish line happened. I could just try to block, but I tried to block as best as I could, and it just got on my outside, and I thought I'd be able to hold him off, but the momentum carried him around, and we came home second. Another good finish, I'll take it, but it's hard to finish second after leading a lot late in the race.
Yeah, and leading a lot of the race for sure, but unfortunately it came crashing down just with so many cautions. Do you think that, if the green flag stayed out and we had one of those long green flag runs to finish, do you think that you would have secured the deal and lengthened the bounty?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I felt better on the longer runs than on the restarts, just because how hectic the restarts are, and I just like kind of relaxing, saving tires, and then going after it later in the run, and just all them restarts at the end it made me more and more nervous because it just ramped up the intensity more and more, and just I was hoping on that second restart it went green because they all started stacking up behind me, and I was hoping I could just get far enough away, but yet again another caution happened, and then just got caught up there with Jackson. But so overall, a fun race. Good job by the team just to come up top 5. Hopefully extend the points lead.
All right, well, Blaze, we appreciate you coming out here and racing with us. Just coming up just short, but we'll see you come next week, man. But until then, we wish you the best of luck. But before we let you go, do you have any teams or sponsors that you want to thank?
Yeah, CLD, Crystal Designs coming along again. PPM, giving me these great cars every week. iRacing Media, Bundren Lawn Care, and my teammate Glenn Bundren. Worked with him a lot during the race with pit strategy and just working throughout the race, so I'd like to thank him.
All right, well, Blaze, we'll see you come next week, man, but until then, we wish you the best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Blaze McKinney, just coming up just short, heartbreaking finish. It stinks coming up just a car length short away from victory. So next up on the interview list, we have the 37 of Glenn Bundren, and we're going to go ahead and give this win away to Eli. Into the booth he goes.
Glenn, this is Eli up in the KBRN booth. You got me?
I got you.
So you had a great race all night long. We saw you near the front of the pack. We saw you lead a couple of laps tonight. Fall just short in the 3rd position. Can you take us through your night from your perspective?
Yeah, we had a really good Peak Performance Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. Just this is one of my strong tracks. Michigan is, and you got to qualify well. And we got in that wreck, I think on lap 16, and had to come down and use the fast repair. It was the first guy on fresh tires and just absolutely marched through the field. I don't know where the speed really came from. So then me and Blaze hooked up. I led a couple laps. I think I led like 15 laps or anything. But me and Blaze hooked up. Then we had that caution, like was 10 to go, and then that's what really threw my strategy up. But I don't know where that speed came from, Eli. I mean, I don't know I was that good of a racer.
Yeah, you were definitely fast. We saw you check out early in some earlier laps, but finishing 3rd, just coming up as short. Is there anything you regret or anything you could have done differently to maybe gain some positions or had a better finish?
Yeah, the first green light checkered. Whenever on the restart, I mashed the gas, and all of a sudden my brakes like dragging. I'm not hitting the brake. That was what set us back, and we went back, I believe, like 12th. And if that didn't happen, I think we would have maybe won that race because I was really good on the short and long runs. I had a really fast car. That's the one thing I regret what my pedal's doing.
Yeah, Glenn. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, want to thank you guys for doing this on YouTube and Bundren Lawn Care myself. iRacing Media. iRacing Media is shutting down. This was their last race with them. Corey Hart's Media is on the car, so we gave Corey a good bit of TV time.
All right, thank you, man. I had a great race tonight. Good luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was Glenn Bundren, your third place finisher. I'll give it over to Kenneth Bueno.
Well, it looks like we don't have Curtis Granger in the waiting room right now. He finished in 4th, so a good run for him. We'll see if he can get him in. From his voice chat. Okay, he is there. So we'll try to bring him in, even though he's kind of busy right now. But Curtis Granger, very random, but welcome to.
Oh,
You got a
hello.
copy?
Yeah, I do.
All right, Curtis. Well, you finished 4th tonight in what was another good top 5 run for you. You had one at Homestead. You've ran pretty consistent over the past couple weeks. Tell me what happened with you this race and how your race went overall.
I mean, it was a pretty good race. The one long green flag run, I started at the tail end and just bided my time, saved my tires. So I pit before that green flag run started, and all the faster cars pit, and then I had track position, led a few laps. That was nice. And then I was in a spot where after I pit, I was like just on the cusp of making it on fuel. So I was really hoping that we were going to go green to the end, and I was going to try and stretch it. It would have been really close. Honestly, I probably would have ran out of fuel. But I was willing to take that risk because why not? It would be fun. Fuel mileage race. But it's a shame that we had a caution, and then caution, and then caution. Once all that came out, I stayed out on normal tires with Blaze at the end there. And then we were just kind of sitting ducks. I got in an incident with the 72 twice, and I had a little bit of engine damage, bunch of front end damage. Happy to pull tonight out with a 4th place finish though.
Yeah, we talked about you on that long. It kind of looked like the long green flag run was going to kind of transfer into the end of the race, and obviously that didn't happen. And we were mentioning how you pretty much pitted on that window, so you're able to stretch it all the way to the end and possibly be at the end. But you were still there at the end of the race, and you put on a good run. Just in that last incident with Kilo Hankins and Nick Miller, just tell us what your POV was kind of going into the back straightaway. It kind of looked like that was going to be the race for the win at the end of it, but then it kind of hit the fan there. Just tell us your thoughts on that. What happened there?
Well, I had an incident with the 72 on the restart prior, so I already wasn't happy with him. I was not planning on lifting, and I think push the pusher caused the 88 to spin around or something along those lines. 72 and 88 started spinning in front of me, and then I had nowhere to go. Ran into the 88, and with like one more green flag or green white checker to go, I'm not going to pit. I was a little engine damage, but I was willing to risk it and hang on to what was a good 4th place finish. I'm satisfied with that. I'm happy. Where are we at next week? I'm looking forward to it.
We're at Iowa next week. So that'll be fun.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a fun track. Yeah, so that'll be really fun. I'm pretty sure you're excited.
For sure.
Yeah, and we are excited to have that race next week. And before we let you go out of the booth, you got any sponsors or teams you want to thank?
I want to thank my team, VAG Esports, and my co-owner, Zach Macari, for doing what they do. All my teammates in the race who did a good job tonight. The ones who didn't, I'm not happy with, and I will yell at them. Other than that, yeah, congrats to Jackson. That was awesome. I was talking to him during that the end, and I was just like, holy, he's gonna win this thing. I was not expecting it, and he won the Blaze Bounty. So, God, what a good race.
Yeah, really interesting run to the end there. Well, you finished 4th, so another good points day for you. That'll certainly shoot you up the point standings a little more and put you in contention for the points championship nearing the end of the season. But of course, thank you for taking the time to join us in the KBRN booth. We're happy to have you, and we hope to see you next week at Iowa. I know you're excited for that one.
Sounds good.
All right, Curtis Granger steps out of the booth, finishing 4th, and we're going to bring our final driver in, the man who finishes just inside the top 5. That's the 83 of Joe Burry, who had a really interesting run around that end of the race. He had a pretty much up and down run, but he finished his 5th. Charlie, I'll give it to you in the last one.
Yeah, we're going to have him drag in the booth. 83 of Joe Burry, you got a copy with us?
I'm eating celebratory pretzel sticks.
Well, yeah, we talked to you before the race, and you're kind of uncertain about your chances here, but you managed to score a top 5 finish. So walk us through how you did it.
You know, that's a good question. We were pretty fast in the short run, like I said, but we kind of fell back on the long run. The caution near the end kind of helped us there. After getting turned by J.J. Hill because he doesn't know how to check up. Then again, apparently no one with the name Hill knows how to drive unless you're in Formula 1. We managed to keep going back up the field even after hitting the wall, after getting spun. Just kept picking it off. Cars kept wrecking left and right, and then just a little bit on pace with the short run. So.
Yeah, and obviously an unpredictable last stint of the race for sure, and yeah, it kind of came crashing down with all those cautions. But do you think those cautions really benefited you?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I'm sorry, I love pretzel sticks.
No worries.
The cautions at the end, it was basically until then it was on fuel mileage, but until like when it came out, because I was really slow because I'd hit the wall I think twice and I already used my fast repair. When I got the damage fixed and then even after I got spun, we kind of just kept grabbing positions. I don't know how, aside from the wrecks, I don't know how I was on the speed, but we ended up finishing 5th, and it's really all I can say. I'm sorry if you can hear that. I'm not trying to anticipate ASMR.
Oh, no worries for sure. You go enjoy those pretzels. We'll see you come next race, but before we let you go, do you have any teams or sponsors that you'd like to thank?
Pretzel sticks.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Red Bull 2 and of course KBRN. Gotta thank them for broadcasting this amazing race. Gotta thank J.J. Hill for dumping me and somehow getting me back into a position, and Joseph Costello for I don't know, just why not?
Yeah. Well, we wish you. We'll see you come next week. Thank you for coming out here tonight, and until then, we wish you the best of luck, Joe.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. And that's Joe Burge. That's going to round out your top 5 interviews for tonight. Yeah. Kenneth, you can take this final statement.
Yeah, what a finish we had here at Michigan International Speedway. Probably the finish we weren't expecting. What a good finish nonetheless, and that went to Jackson Hartman in the 19. Guys, I want to ask you guys before we wrap things up for the night on to next Monday at Iowa. Is there something big to take away from this? You think that some of the things that happened in this race could transfer over to Iowa? You think we might see another bounty soon in this season?
Yeah, I think of Blaise McKinney. Obviously, he's had a pretty sizable points lead as we went over early in the race, just 37 points ahead. That's a pretty astounding points lead. So, yeah, I think if he keeps it up, they're definitely going to maybe put up another bounty. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But one thing to take away from this race is a lot of happy faces, but a lot of frowning faces walking out of here as we see the disappointment from... and a bit of controversy between the 72 of Kelan Hankins and the 88 of Nick Miller. So, yeah, maybe that'll carry over into the next race, or maybe it won't, because I know they race with each other pretty frequently in another league. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Iowa's a really fun track, especially in these Cup cars. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if I had to take one thing away from this race, I'd say that there's new faces that are here to race that made their statement here tonight. We saw some new cars up in the top 5 all night long that we don't usually see, and we obviously saw a new winner here tonight with Jackson Hartman in that 19. But yeah, definitely something to take away. Next week at Iowa, definitely a really fun racing track and really fun with the Cup cars. I enjoy watching it, so yeah, it'll definitely be a good one next week.
Yeah, Iowa, that'll be next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on the KBueno Racing Network. You can tune into that. We'll be live at that time, and we'll be excited to bring you all the action from the Iowa Speedway for 150 laps under the sunset. So that's going to be fun to watch, and what a race we had here in Michigan. Congratulations to the 19 team of Jackson Hartman and taking the bounty from Blaise McKinney here at Michigan. For everybody in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, for Glenn Bundren himself for putting this lead together. For all of us here in the KBRN booth, for Charlie Baier and Eli Commerford, my name is Kenneth Bueno saying good night from Michigan. Jackson Hartman, your winner here tonight.